Welcome back to ChemCon TV's News Bulletin. On this Sustainable Tuesday, here's what we have lined up for you. An impression of ChemCon Europe's 2025's welcome reception, an insightful interview on regulatory monitoring and management, our statement of the day focuses on the global framework on chemicals, and our local reporter strolls across Venetian bridges. And both Filippo and Chef Ivan serve up stories about pasta. And to start with, some sound bites from yesterday.
We opened this year's ChemCon in Venice with a lively workshop on enforcement. Like always, this workshop is always in the morning, very early, but still a lot of people joined the workshop because enforcement is really a hot topic. First, Henrik Hedlund, chair of the ECHA Forum, presented the work of ECHA. Then Dunja Drummark from CEFIC described enforcement activities on the viewpoint of industry and the importance of harmonized enforcement, even strengthening the European angle on enforcement. And then Henrik again showed some national examples on how enforcement worked in practice on the imports of chemicals. That session was wrapped up with quite a few questions. The overall message from the audience and the panel was enforcement, especially harmonized enforcement of chemical regulations, is important to avoid free riding.
I chaired the session on regulatory monitoring and supply chain communication today. Regulatory monitoring provides you with the insights you need to ensure safe use of your chemicals and communicate the results convincingly in your supply chain. That builds trust, and trust builds shareholder value.
Let's connect with our local reporter and learn more about yesterday's welcome reception. Hi Filippo, I see you are also in the Hilton Molino Stucky.
Yes. Before becoming the Hilton Molino Stucky in 2007, this building was already a marvelous monument of neo-Gothic architecture on the island of Giudecca. Built between 1884 and 1895 by Swiss-Italian entrepreneur Giovanni Stucky, it was once Europe's largest flour mill and also produced pasta. At its peak, it employed over 1,500 workers and symbolized Venice's industrial rise. Every morning, workers arrived, often by boat, as the mill was directly supplied by ships bringing grain from the Balkans and Russia via the Giudecca Canal. Their day began with unloading grain, followed by cleaning, milling, and pasta production. So, the factory worked around the clock, first with steam, then by electricity, making basically the first private building in the city to have electric light.
What a fascinating history, and it's great to see so many remnants of that era beautifully preserved in the hotel rooms. Another restored building is the Glass Cathedral, where we held our welcome reception. During the evening, your next clue was crafted by glassmaster Miguel. I've left it for you in the hotel's tower.
Good, I'm gonna take it. In the meantime, please enjoy my impression of yesterday's event. Delegates of ChemCon Europe 2025 traveled by boat from Giudecca to Murano, where they entered the gracious glass cathedral. This venue, formerly the Chiesa di Santa Chiara, was transformed in 2013 into the elegant and stunning glass cathedral. Delegates enjoyed an excellent dinner and had the chance to reconnect and network during the welcome reception. One of the highlights of the evening was the live glass-blowing demonstration, offering a truly immersive Venetian experience.
We were fortunate to visit such an extraordinary venue. Personally, I was pleased that our delegates could witness the creation of your next clue. Haha, I see you have found it.
This one's easy. I can already see our next destination at the horizon.
And we will be expanding our horizons further in my interview with Gerson Martin and Paul Ulioja, where we dive into regulatory monitoring and management. Are there any other tools you would recommend for managing and sharing regulatory data?
Sure. Besides ECHA Chem and ECHA's website, ECHA makes available what it called the European Chemical Legislation Finder, UCLEF. And this is a very handy tool because it contains up to 51 pieces of legislation managed by the European Commission in one place. We call it one-stop shop. So actually you can put by introducing a chemical identifier, EC, CAS, or chemical name, actually you can have a glance overview of the chemical regulations over your substances. So actually you are prepared in order to be compliant, so actually to monitor what actually your duties as before putting the substance into the market, and it's in one go. So actually you don't need to search anywhere else. So actually you have the 51 pieces of legislation in one site.
That seems perfect. One-stop shop. Paul, are there other shops you go to for some data?
Absolutely. So one of the things that ECHA does very well is make that available. And you said one key thing there, which was ECHA also publishes the legislative process leading to these changes. That's something that companies also need to understand in order to influence it early enough and to be prepared. In other regions, we also have things like JCheck or the Asian chemicals platform from Japan, which covers Southeast Asian countries, and that's another valuable resource for particularly trying to understand those list changes. But where it differs is that it gives you much less information around that legislative process and how to get involved early. In the US too, of course, each regulator has its own platform, sometimes searching by substance, sometimes by structure. These are all things we need to do, as you know. Identifiers are always a challenge, and with languages and so on, identifying what it impacts is important. Another area, though, of course, is we're talking about chemical regulations, and those have been from chemical agencies. More and more, we're seeing chemical regulation or chemical management regulations coming from other areas where this information is not always present. From eco-design or other initiatives, we need to integrate those and be able to understand them, and that provides a big challenge for industry. It brings together previously two different communities, and they have to be able to understand each other.
Please watch the complete interview on our YouTube channel. And after this interview, let's return to Filippo at the
Rialto fish market. The clue about the fish was impossible to miss. We are in the center of the Grand Canal, and the market has been the heart of commerce in Venice since the 11th century. Each morning, fishermen unload fresh catches: squid, clams, sardines, scampi, sea bass. And a glass horse? I think that's a hint for tomorrow, but let's stick with the fish for now. A local specialty here is baccalà mantecato, a creamy dry cod. Dry cod was introduced by Pietro Querini. In 1332, he had a shipwreck that brought him to Norway. There, he found out cod, and now we have it on our plate. Querini belonged to the powerful Querini family, one of Venice's 12 founding families. Their influence peaked in the Middle Ages, but their reputation suffered after Marco Querini joined a failed conspiracy in 1310, which barred the family from ever producing a doge, the elected Duke of Venice. Figuratively speaking, Pietro Querini crossed the bridge and transformed his family's legacy by opening a new trade route. Speaking of bridges, Venice has more than 400 of them. Let me show you some of them with the most intriguing names. Ponte dei Sospiri, Bridge of Sighs. A beautiful name for a terrifying place to be. Back in the days, you've been tried in the Doge's palace and then sent to prison. And while you walk on the bridge, you look to Venice from the windows, and a sigh of despair is leaving your body while you go inside forever. Ponte delle Tette, Bridge of Breasts. This used to be the red light district, so the name comes from the courtesans of Venice showing their breasts from the windows, trying to lure in customers. Ponte dei Pugni, Bridge of Fists. This bridge takes its name from ancient battles with fists that used to be made between two different clans. You can see the prints for the foot to start the fighting, and you fight up until you throw the enemy into the canal. Fortunately, it's not a very high jump.
Still one wonders, why fight when you can collaborate? And that's the spirit behind initiatives like the Global Framework on Chemicals, which I will discuss in today's statement with Katherine Theotocatos from UNEP. Katherine, could you briefly outline the essence of the Global Framework on Chemicals?
Thank you, Chit. The Global Framework on Chemicals is a new international agreement aimed at helping us do a better job of managing chemicals and waste. It's a multi-stakeholder approach, and that means all stakeholders are at the table: governments, industry, NGOs and civil society as well. And the aim is to work together to achieve this joint vision of a planet free of harm from chemicals and waste through capacity building initiatives, through innovation for greener chemistry, through circular economy approaches. The emphasis is on working together to achieve this vision.
And what is your key statement on this topic?
All key stakeholders must engage to make the global framework on chemicals a success.
Katherine, thank you very much for your statement. And before going to the focus of the day, first Chef Ivan with the dish of the day. Trofie Pasta with pesto, potatoes and beans.
This is a Trofie pasta with pesto, potato and bean. It's a traditional dish from Liguria region. Enjoy!
Thanks, I'm already looking forward to a healthy lunch on Sustainable Tuesday. But first, we will kick off the morning with a session on sustainability strategies and initiatives in the EU, followed by a session on substitution to safer alternatives. And in the afternoon we will take Sustainable Tuesday to the next level with roundtable discussions exploring sustainability ambitions and their impact across the value chain. Topics include the global framework on chemicals, and we will also follow the money to uncover who holds the funds and who is eager to invest in a sustainable industry. To wrap up the day, more roundtables, spotlighting technological developments supporting sustainability implementation, such as the digital product passport. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day.